right on time, and I am going to go ahead and get started with this webinar. So my name is Katie Ashley, and I am a writer. I'm a mentor. I mentor students all over the world, and I teach yoga. I teach yoga classes in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am just now actually coming back into teaching more public classes. I had taken some time off teaching only very few classes in Charleston because I have been in the process of writing my first book, which is called Living Life on Purpose. And it is part memoir, part teachings on yoga, and part practice manual. So I've kind of interwoven my story of how things were before, how things are now, that I have been living my life on purpose as opposed to by default or by happenstance. And I've interwoven that with the teachings of yoga that have helped me and that have helped so many of my students. And I've put it all in one place in this book. And then at the end, there are practices and also journaling prompts so that you can use any of my stories or any of my teachings to assist you on your path. Sometimes just knowing that someone else has been there and that they have made it out of it is very, very helpful. And then what I found to be lacking from a lot of other books that I have read along my way was actual tools or actionable practices that were practical and accessible regardless of where you were or what you had access to. So I've tried to include that in the book as well. So anyway, that is a little bit about me, and that book is not currently available. It is in its final editing stages, and it should be available hopefully in March or April. So I'll let you know when that happens if you send me an email, which you can do at katie@katieashley.org. So for today's workshop, we are talking about how to meditate every day. And this is a question that I get asked all the time, and it is something that I have struggled with quite a lot in the evolution of my practice. And what it comes down to, I find most often, is that we make these huge, lofty goals when we decide that we are going to start a meditation practice, and we have very grand aspirations. And it works, like we decide, so today I am going to start meditating, and I am going to meditate every day for 20 minutes for the rest of my life. Or we say, well, I am going to meditate for half an hour every day for the next month. You'll see this is a very popular challenge, 30 minutes, 30 days, 5 minutes, 30 days. Whatever the goal is, there tends to be lots of power programs that we're going to make this big life change for this amount of time. And so we can get onto these challenges either with a group or that we set up ourselves, and it tends to go pretty well at the beginning. We're into it, and we're like, this is great, I'm holding myself accountable, or I'm posting in a group somewhere else, and everything's going really well, and then we miss a day. And then we miss 2 days. And then we kind of fall out of it. And we feel really guilty, and we're kind of ashamed because we've set up this goal and then we aren't doing it, and we feel really bad. And so we kind of back away from our practices and let them go for a little while. And then we feel like, okay, I'm going to give this another shot. I'm going to try again. And so we try again, and the same thing starts to happen. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, I'm just not good at meditating. And we decide that we will create this perfect set of life circumstances that we need to achieve before we can really start our practice. Whether this be meditation or asana or journaling or waking up early in the morning or whatever our goal is. But for the purpose of this class, we'll keep our example to meditation. So all of a sudden we believe we can't meditate or that it's really hard. And so the trick is that tends to be our biggest obstacle. is our expectations of what a daily practice looks like and how we need to achieve that. So that's that big obstacle, is we just make it too big of a deal. So the solution to that is we make it easy. And how do we make it easy for ourselves? The first thing is we figure out what is getting in our way. So what is getting in the way of us meditating every single day? And a lot of times what is getting in our way is that we have this belief about what our meditation should look like, what our practice should look like. Sometimes that is how long we are meditating, and sometimes that is how it should feel. Sometimes it is what is happening or not happening in our head. So we can set up this idea that meditation only counts if it's 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Meditation only counts if it feels relaxing. Meditation only counts if I can totally zone out and I'm not thinking about anything at all, or I'm staying very focused on my mantra or whatever topic I'm trying to meditate on. Often that is a huge obstacle, and when we start getting into this mindset, we often stop our meditation practice. The other thing that can get in our way, especially about starting a meditation practice, can be that we feel like we need a mantra. We need to know something to say, and perhaps that is in Sanskrit in our head. We envision ourselves meditating with this beautiful Sanskrit mantra, but we don't necessarily have one or know where to get one. Or we need a special place. We need a meditation cushion or a mat, and we don't have one, so we aren't quite ready. And then also our hips need to be more flexible. We're uncomfortable when we start to meditate, and that can be a hindrance. Or we feel like patience is the problem. We sit down to meditate and we just can't do it. We can't sit still for that long. We can't quiet our mind for that long, and that becomes a hindrance. And then very often, one of the largest hindrances that comes up is we feel like we need time to meditate. We need to be able to carve out this hour-long period of time, or this 20 minutes. And who has 20 extra minutes in their day? Where is that supposed to happen? And not only do we need 20 extra minutes, but we need a silent 20 extra minutes. And where is that going to happen in our day? When we're busy at work or we're busy at home, there's coworkers, there's kids running around, there's a partner coming in and out. So it's difficult to find a quiet space. And so we decide not to meditate or to stop our practice. The thing is that you have everything you need. You have everything you need right now to begin meditating. So how do we make it easy to meditate? The first step here is to start small. So bring your goals, bring your expectations down to a really manageable level. So perhaps what I really like to do, what I really like to start my meditation practice with, is the goal of I'm going to meditate today. Not for 30 days, not for a year, not for the rest of my life, but just for today, I am going to start my meditation practice. I'm going to meditate today. And the goal can be just that. It doesn't have to be I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes today, I'm going to meditate for 5, just I'm going to meditate today. Maybe 1 minute is going to be enough. And then you make a schedule. So our goal is to meditate today, but if our larger goal is to start a meditation practice that is sustainable and ongoing, then we need to have a goal of meditating multiple days in a row. So making a schedule that works for you. So for me, it works best if I meditate in the morning. If I get up before my son and my partner wake up, and I have a time to meditate then. And so I use an app called Sleep Cycle that helps me wake up at a desirable time. I found that it was really hard to wake up at 5:30 in the morning or before that, especially when it's still dark outside and during the winter. If you are in the northern hemisphere, which it is winter now, and it is cold and it is dark, and so it's difficult to wake up. So using that Sleep Cycle app helps me do that a lot. And then also plan for the schedule to shift. So very, very often, my son will wake up before my Sleep Cycle app wakes me up. And then obviously I am not going to be able to meditate in the same way. So the schedule shifts. So maybe I'm going to have to meditate at a different time during the day. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to deal with the schedule shifting in a moment. So let go of your expectations. If you decided that you were going to meditate in the morning, but the schedule shifted, don't feel like, oh, well, I blew it. I'm not going to be able to meditate at all anymore. This is just not working for me. Let go of the expectations and don't worry about it. Don't get super hung up on that. At the same time, along the same lines, hold yourself to your word. So letting go when things that are out of our control arise that disrupt our meditation practice, but holding ourselves to our word when it is something that we are in control of, like waking up when the alarm clock goes off. Or if you have set an alarm that you need to meditate at 2 o'clock before you go pick up the kids from school, or before you head in to work or to a class in the afternoon, hold yourself to your word and go ahead and meditate then. So as I said, start small. Start with a time that is in the middle of easy and challenging. If you've been meditating for a while and you know that you can sit quietly for 5 minutes, then perhaps amp it up to 7 or 10, maybe even 15. If meditating for 5 minutes is like crazy challenging, maybe you need to start meditating for 3. I generally advise starting your practice at 5 or 7 minutes. It gives you enough time to kind of get into your experience of meditation, which is going to be a little bit cyclical, and then work your way up to 20 minutes. So make a schedule. When is meditation going to fit most easily into your life? Perhaps that is going to be in the morning. Maybe it's during your lunch break or 3 o'clock. Maybe it's before bed. Write it into your planner or set an alarm on your phone. So today, right after this webinar is done, or you could take a moment to do it now if your planner is nearby, or if you have your phone handy and you aren't watching the webinar on your phone, schedule in for the next couple days, when are you going to be able to meditate, ideally? And go ahead and write that down. And then plan for your schedule to shift. So know it's okay if you miss your scheduled meditation time. And then find another way to get your practice in. Meditate in the car for 3 minutes before going to your next appointment. Meditate for 5 minutes while dinner's on the oven. Meditate for 10 minutes before you go to sleep. Meditate for 1 minute before you reply to the next email. So you can find ways to get your meditation in. Many of my meditations are in my car, in the parking lot, at my son's school, before I go to pick him up. So it does not have to be on a meditation cushion in a nice room. It can be, but it doesn't have to. So let go of expectations. This one is huge. Your practice is your own. So stop comparing your experiences to others. And this is key. Stop comparing your experience today to your past experience, both in the circumstances of your meditation and in how you experience your meditation. So drop the guilt or shame if things aren't progressing quickly or if meditation still feels hard, but keep practicing. Hold yourself to your word. Let go of the guilt or shame around not meditating or skipping meditation, but don't make excuses or slack off. Stay in your integrity and keep your promise to yourself. Take that time, even if it's 1 minute, to show up for yourself and hold yourself accountable and to give yourself that gift in everything that meditation has to offer. If you find that you continue to miss your meditation sessions, investigate. Maybe your timing's off. Maybe you want to be able to wake up in the morning and meditate, but maybe that's really not the best time for you. Maybe it would be better to meditate in the evening or right after work. Sometimes people find it helpful to meditate right before they leave work. So they shut down their computer, they get everything set, and then they just close their eyes and meditate for a minute while they're still in their office. Because they know that as soon as they get home, they're going to either want to start talking to someone or just turn on the TV or just get distracted in some way. So also, another thing that can sometimes shift us off our practice is that we are uncovering something that we have been avoiding, and that is really uncomfortable. And so we know that we're starting to get these flashes of intuition or this flash of insight or this just like inner knowing that comes and it gets strengthened when we have a meditation practice. And sometimes as that starts to bubble up, it's really scary and we stop meditating. And we aren't necessarily always conscious of that is what is happening, especially at the beginning of our practice. So we'll make up all kinds of excuses as to why meditation's not working with us. Another thing is that we are comfortable in anxiety and in pain. And it feels just unsettling or a little weird to come out of that. Even things that we deeply want to change, like this perpetual anxiety or this perpetual discomfort or this just like ughness that we get in our life, even if we really want that to change, sometimes it can still be more comfortable than the unknown. And what happens once we have a long meditation practice is unknown for a lot of us. So sometimes that can be scary. So helpful tips. Get comfortable. Find a place where you can be comfortable. And sometimes that's seated, cross-legged on the floor. Sometimes that is seated on your bed. Sometimes it's laying down. Sometimes it is sitting in a chair. Just find a place where you can get comfortable. If your spine can be long and upright, that is ideal. If your spine needs to be long by laying down, that's great too. Let me phrase this in a different way. I would advise you against laying down for your meditation first thing in the morning because you may end up just falling back asleep. Same thing goes for it at night. But if that's the only way that your meditation is going to happen, then go ahead and do that. Sometimes you need to move first. Get some of that energy moving, which could be a yoga practice, which is ideal and one of the reasons that yoga asana was created in the first place. Sometimes you need to go for a run or go to the gym or go dance or go to a bar class. Do whatever works for you. Maybe just take a walk. Also, choosing a simple mantra can be very helpful. My go-to mantra is let go. So inhale, let, exhale, go. You can also use a mala or light a candle or create an altar or a special place. And then I am going to talk to you about that in a little moment once this presentation portion is over and I have the camera on. And then another option, which is always an extremely helpful one, is to find a teacher. If you would like that to be me, I am happy to step into that role. And so please email me, katie@katieashley.org, or reach out to me via Instagram or Twitter @KatieAshleyLove. And I'm on Facebook as Katie Ashley. I have 2 pages. One is my personal page, and one is my professional page. So please post questions about meditation on the professional page, but feel free to friend me on the personal page too. You can use the hashtag meditate today, and that can keep you accountable, and it can keep us together and on the same page, so I can check in and kind of cheer you on with how you're doing. So also, if you have any questions about finding a meditation class in your area, if you don't live in Charleston, or even if you do, I can point you to other teachers. I can point you to some of my favorite resources online, which I will also share with you now. So I am going to exit out of this PowerPoint and get back to our screens here. Let's see. I'm going to stop our screen share. All right. So hopefully now you can see me. And it's kind of dark here, so I apologize for the quality of the video. But so along the idea of things that are helpful in your meditation, and a few yoga room where I set up an altar that is nice. And one of my teachers, David Light, in his discussion about why it's nice to have an altar, he says that one of the primary purposes is that when you walk past it, it will remind you to do your practices. And so my meditation room is in between my bedroom and my son's bedroom. And the meditation and yoga room is also my office. And so I walk by it often. The light in there, since it's kind of rainy here in Charleston, is not great today. It's even more dark than this room. So I just brought some of my things out. So my mala, this one is super basic. It's just wooden beads. They aren't any kind of special bead at all. You can find them on Amazon for about $9. And you just would repeat your mantra with one bead in between your forefinger and thumb. And that mantra can be let go. It can be a Sanskrit mantra, which often a teacher will give you a Sanskrit mantra after you've been practicing for some period of time. Or you are welcome to Google them. You can find tons of them. If you search meditation mantra on YouTube, you can even find a ton of those things. On my altar, I also like to have this little Buddha, and he is just helpful. He kind of reminds me of the path that I'm on and where I'm going. I also tend to have this little statue of Ganesh. He is the Hindu remover of obstacles. So having those in a special place, a place that I meditate, when I walk by, I just remember like, oh yeah, those things are important to me. I should meditate. Sometimes setting the scene can be nice. So people will use certain tools to kind of help them on a sensory level get into the groove of meditation. I have this little bell that my teachers brought back from India. So if I ring it, it can kind of set that like, okay, that has begun. You know, just like at school, how they ring a bell and it's like, now it's time for class. It can be, you know, now it's time to meditate. Also, you can light a candle. You can light incense. The incense that I tend to use, which is just a very cleansing incense, is this Nag Champa. If you've been into a yoga studio, you know, it smells like that. So a lot of times that is the smell that people are familiar with. Also, doing a reading can be helpful, which is actually another practice of self-study or spiritual study. And so, you know, different books, like right now I'm working with the Living Gita, so you can read a passage from something for a moment and then close your eyes. Sometimes that can help you kind of shift out of that like go, go, go or monkey mindset. So does anybody have any questions? I am checking in on that now. And it looks like so far there are no questions. So if you do have any questions, you can scroll right below this video and type your questions into a little box that's right below that. And I will check that again in a moment. And it looks like you guys are good. And if I miss any questions for some reason, then I will reply back to those after the webinar is over. Okay. So I hope that this has been helpful for you in setting up how to have a meditation practice that is sustainable. So the big key points were: stop making it so hard, stop making it a big deal, and just make it easy. Find a way that works for you. Set a schedule. Hold yourself accountable for the things that you are in control of, that expect things to shift you off course that you have no control of. And then find an alternative. Find a route to get your practice in a different way. And so if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Again, send me an email, katie@katieashley.org. Or reach out on Instagram, which is my favorite platform, and it's Katie Ashley Love there. You can use the hashtag Meditate Today. And then you can also reach out via Facebook. So I hope to connect with all of you soon. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will talk with you soon. Thanks so much.